I spent $12,000 to get mentored by Davey Fogarty. Before, I was stuck in my ecom business. I was growing, but I knew there was something that I just wasn't seeing. It just wasn't clicking. Davey Fogarty is an $850 million e-commerce business founder. He's built multiple 8 and 9 figure brands like the Oodie in just a few years. So I wanted to know exactly how he thinks. So I joined his mentorship. I flew down to Melbourne, I met him and networked with a bunch of other 7 and 8 figure brand owners. And honestly, what I learned completely changed the way I do e-commerce and business now. I'm gonna break down the biggest lessons I learned and share with you what the program was about and whether the program was actually worth the price I paid. So I joined Davey Fogarty's mentorship program called the Daily Mentor. And when I joined, the Daily Mentor was $4,000 a month just to be part of the program. I'm gonna break this video down into 3 main sections. For content, what was actually inside the program, the mentorship aspect, or whether how I met Davey, how I could book one-on-ones with the real people, and also the network and what the real benefits lie over there. So basically, you pay $4,000, you get into the community. It's a community of around 850 people, and you pay $4,000 for your company to get in. You can bring in a couple people, and then you all get access to resources. But when you get in terms of content, there's 2 main things that you get access to. One is you get access to a school community, and this school community has a bunch of courses on things like how to run meta ads, advanced ways to run meta ads, TikTok ads, Pinterest ads, email marketing, etc. And you also get added to a Slack, and this is an absolutely huge Slack where there's like 20, 30, 40 channels of every specific area of e-commerce. There would be like email marketing, Google ads, TikTok ads, Google ads remarketing, Facebook ads remarketing, Black Friday, sourcing, landing pages, like every aspect of e-com you could think of, they had a Slack channel for that. And then there were people constantly talking inside of it and sharing valuable information. So in terms of the school community, the content that existed there was honestly quite overwhelming. There was so much content to get through. He had full courses on how to run Facebook ads and meta ads, like A to Z, at least 10 hours worth of content just in that one section. And then also there would be weekly Q&A sessions where you could talk to, and in these like mini courses of Facebook ads and whatever, they have recordings of every single weekly Q&A. So every week they host a Q&A where you come and ask questions about a specific topic, and they'll record the entire thing and keep it in there. So the amount of content there was huge because they had this for Facebook ads and TikTok ads and Snapchat ads and email marketing and building landing pages and CRO, conversion rate optimization. It was just so much content to get through if you wanted to actually learn and know everything. And unless you were like studying full-time and running a brand, and then if this is a side business and you have like a job or something or family to take care of, it's really, really hard to figure out what you actually need to do. And the way the Daily Mentor worked is like, yeah, we've got Davey Fogarty as the head mentor. He runs the whole thing. But each one of these aspects of e-commerce, like Facebook ads, Google ads, email marketing, they all had a specific mentor that was like an expert in that field. So for Facebook ads, there'd be a guy that was solely focused on Facebook ads. For email marketing, there'd be a guy that's solely focused on email marketing. And in all those courses, he or she was a person that basically made all that content and was an expert in that field. And that leads me on to the second part of the content, which is Slack. So Slack had all those channels and communities, and in each of those channels would be everyone that would join the channel, or like the brands, and the mentor that would basically run that channel. So in the email marketing channel, you could basically share a screenshot of your emails or your email dashboard, or you could ask a question: how do I set up this type of DKIM key in my email for my domain? And then the mentor directly would answer your question and basically get fast responses, and you grow faster. So I guess that's like a middle ground between like you watching the content and trying to figure out how to apply it to yourself versus you having a specific problem and going to a mentor and asking them. I find a lot of value in that, to be honest, because you actually got direct access to mentors. However, with one caveat, because each of these mentors in these respective fields were also owners of an agency. So for example, the email marketing mentor that was supposed to helping you with email marketing also runs, like his day job is to run an email marketing agency. So it was a bit of a conflict of interest because yeah, you'd ask them for help on something and they'd give you the help on that. But the incentive behind it is like you trust them, and if you don't want to do it, then you can go to them and you can pay them to basically do all the work for you. It still felt a little tiny bit salesy, and I was a little bit uncomfortable every time I would try to ask more questions because I feel like they were leading me down the path of, yeah, I'm answering your question, but I also want you to pay me and be a client of my agency, and also the Daily Mentor program, which I didn't really like because I'm already paying $4,000 a month for this, and now you want me to pay you even more on the side. And then you copy that over for like all the other domains of like landing page and Google ads, and all these guys have their own agencies now, and it was just a little bit messy. And I guess you can't have everything in life, you can't have your cake and eat it too, but it is what it is. It was still really, really good to talk to people and to talk to mentors directly, and also more importantly to learn from the mistakes of others, because someone could ask a question and then you read it and then you read the mentor reply to the answer, and it might not be relevant to you right now, but in a month's time you come with the same problem and you know what the answer is, and you can just scroll up and then click Control F and basically see the history of everyone, and you basically get the answer. It's really, really good in that regard. So the content is good, but once you consume all the content, then you're like kind of stuck, because you need really, really specific advice on how to move forward. Which brings me to the next point, which is mentorship. So the other really, really good part about this program is that all of the mentors that I spoke about, you can actually book one-on-one meetings with them at any point in time you want. So let's say I'm struggling with Google Ads, I can't get this issue fixed for whatever reason, I've tried everything, I've tried asking. I can book a one-on-one meeting for half an hour with the Google Ads mentor who runs a Google Ads agency, and they'll walk me through and talk me through what exactly I'm doing wrong and what I should avoid. And that's something that's super, super useful, because then you get real, actionable, tailored advice to your situation, your specific situation. And that, I think, is where the most amount of value lies in this community, because sometimes you'll have an issue and you spend hours and days and even weeks trying to find someone else who has the same issue to solve it. You can't find the answer online, you won't find it on YouTube. Where you will get it is someone that's been through the exact same thing hundreds and thousands of times, who can tell you how to fix it, and also tell you how to fix it in a way so you don't encounter the next problem and the next problem and the next problem, because they're already like 10 steps ahead of you. And I think this is where the exponential growth lies, is that you basically, rather than worrying about your next step and see if that's the right step or not, you can ask these guys and they'll tell you what your next step is and the next 5 steps after that, so you know exactly where to go and you have a super, super clear cut vision. I think this is where the majority of the value lies in this program, because in every domain of your brand, email marketing, Google Ads, operations, sourcing, you can basically forecast your road to $10 million in revenue a year, get how to get to 8 figures, and you get it handed to you on a silver platter by people that have done this before. And the other really, really good thing about this and booking one-on-ones is that after you've booked in sufficient one-on-ones with people and gotten advice, you then get the option to actually book a one-on-one with Davey himself. And that, I think, is a super sick part, because yeah, you get all this advice and you've gotten all these like specific domain specific advice. You can then book a one-on-one with Davey, and then he'll give you super actionable, very, very broad and hella strategic advice, because he has experience in every area and how they all interlink, and help you figure out where you actually want to go and what is the fastest way to get there. Most mentorships and communities won't give you this much one-on-one access to people, so I really, really like this part, especially speaking to Davey. Although obviously half an hour is not enough to get like really, really specific tailored advice. You get a couple of pieces of wisdom that you then hold on to and you work really hard for the next 6 to 8 months to act on. But Davey obviously can only have so much context and understand your business in half an hour, right? Just like anyone can. If he wants to give you like the best advice, you want to spend more time, but he can't do that because his time is too valuable. Whereas you can do that with other mentors with specific and get some specific actionable knowledge. I really, really thought that mentorship aspect of this community was super, super useful, super helpful, especially people in their specific domains. Like for example, one of the mentors in this is this guy, Dan, the sourcing guy, and he does sourcing for products from China. And let's say you want to launch a new product line, rather than you having to think like, okay, do I have to go to China? Do I have to go to the Canton Fair? Do I have to start messaging people on Alibaba? Where do I even start? You can just book a call with Dan, and then he'll tell you like the next 5 things to do, and you've just saved yourself like 2 months of headache and stress and worrying, and maybe even like a bunch of money by spending on the wrong supplier. And then you just multiply that across all other areas of e-commerce. And I think that was really, really helpful, because not only do you learn from them, but you learn from everyone that they've worked with, because they'll have seen you make the same mistake from other people in your situation doing the exact same thing. Which leads me on to the last and maybe most important part of this mentorship, which is other people, which is the network that comes with this, because this community is full of 7 to 8 figure brand owners, people that are going through the exact same problem as you, just maybe in a slightly different niche. And the community aspect of this community, I think, was the first time I really, really felt like just being around other people making mistakes helped me grow faster. And then me making mistakes helped them grow faster as well. Because not only were we able to do this in Slack channels, they would constantly host meetups in all parts of the world, because this was a global program. There were people from the US, UK, Dubai, you name it, there were people everywhere. and they would host meetups in and all around the world where Davey would be there, the team would be there, and local brands would come meet up, you'd network, you'd talk, and it was a really, really nice environment. You could actually talk to people, and to this day, I still have connections that I randomly met because I was in Dubai and I messaged the Dubai channel. I'm like, hey, is anyone here free for a coffee? And then I met with like 5-6 people on that day. And the same with Australia. When I flew out to Melbourne and I actually got to meet Davey, I spoke to him one-on-one. I spoke with the team, I spoke with other brand founders that I'm still friends with to this day. And that network of absolute winners and killers, I think comes really handy when you're trying to do big things in life. So I think like the earlier you build your network up of other people that are doing really, really well in whatever you want to pursue, the more it compounds and the bigger your vision for the future gets. So when I started it, this program was super, super worth it. I was getting heaps of value. But as I mentioned, as I grew my brand and I spoke one-on-one with the mentors, they gave me amazing actionable advice on what I should be doing for the next 6 to 8 months. And the thing is, when I got that, I sort of knew what I had to do for the next 6 to 12 months. I knew that I had to go in this direction. I needed to validate this product. And once I've done this, then I need to expand to a second product. And once I've done that, I need to create a flywheel. The blueprint was laid out for me. All I had to do was execute. And once I knew that, once I basically knew what I had to do, being in this community, I gained tremendous value for the first like 3 or 4 months. But after that, the value just dropped because the limiting factor was no longer, me not knowing what to do. It was me just doing what I had to do and it taking time, which meant that I had a great game plan for the next 6 to 12 months. I knew exactly what to do. I just needed to go do it without being distracted. And I felt that me being in there while I was executing was just making it harder for me to move forward than not. And there was also $4,000 a month coming out of my bank account for something that I wasn't really getting the most value out of. In fact, there were actually some distractions that would come up where people like talking about certain AIs or going down some different paths that I knew were, could have these potentials, but were only going to distract me. And I didn't want that. I needed to grow. So I decided to end my membership because I got the value that I needed to. And I thought maybe at a future time when my growth has stagnated once again and when I need more help, I will come back and I will rejoin. But for the time being, I didn't think it was worth it for staying longer than I needed to because it was time for me to actually go and execute. And now that I'm executing, now that we're growing all our brand, I know that in the next few months, I'm going to face similar challenges and I'm going to need help. And when that time comes, I think it'll be time for me to join back to either Davey's group or any other ecom mentorship groups that exist out there. Because don't get me wrong, I am absolutely 100% of the opinion that you should always spend your money on education and to invest in yourself to grow, because that knowledge and skill will live with you forever. The money will come back. The $4,000 a month will come back. But the knowledge that you get to grow, that will stick with you forever. Not only for yourself, but for you to hand it down and to share it with the people around you to help them grow as well. But the knowledge was no longer the limiting factor for me. And for some people, it might not be the case, and I'm happy they're happy in the program. It just wasn't fit for me. But as we grow, I'd love to see the program grow as well. I don't regret spending my money, but I'm satisfied with the way I did, and I'd consider in the future. If you're interested in joining the program or in any e-commerce programs, I've joined quite a few and paid for quite a lot of mentorships and courses and education. Shoot me a DM on Instagram and I'm happy to talk through it more with you. But for anything general e-com related and the things I've learned, I'm going to be sharing it heaps more in this channel and on my email list. So if you don't subscribe to the channel and to my email list. I'll be dropping it hella source on my emails. If you like this sort of content, stick around. I'll be posting way more. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.